Well, I got a little trigger happy there. But anyway, welcome back to the home of original sports perspective from our couch to yours. Thanks for tuning in. This is your host, Jermaine Lockett. Look, whew, thanks for being here. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. We got people commenting before I even hopped on the show. I appreciate the all 22. My man, you are putting out clips left and right. Like, make sure y'all, if y'all subscribe to me, make sure you subscribe to the Lunch Break Hot Take. Make sure you subscribe to Engraving. I'm pretty sure y'all already are because that dude got almost 50,000. And make sure that you are subscribed to all 22. They put it down. They have a good time with it. I appreciate every last one of them. But I'm here to talk about how spoiled we are or how forgetful we are because we are prisoners of the moment, or at least I believe so. I believe we are truly prisoners of the moment. We saw what went down yesterday. We saw 25 points get scored in less than 2 minutes between two teams, which just was electrifying. It gives the rest of the league what they want. They want explosions. They want fireworks. They want crazy quarterbacks with rocket arms throwing it to receivers all the way down the field and just lighting up the middle of the field in lack of defense. So here's the thing. Does Baltimore do that? Does Baltimore do that? Is that Baltimore style? Has that ever been Baltimore style as far as lighting up a scoreboard? No. We like our boring wins. We like our 37 minutes time of possession. We like running the ball. We like killer defense, but that's not the way of the NFL right now. And that's where I think Baltimore Ravens fans may be prisoners of the moment because of what they saw yesterday. Their eyes got big, like, oh, it will never be that. Well, I feel we don't have to be. We do not have to be. If you saw the thumbnail, it was of my boy Lamar dressed up as Jerome, like, hey, remember me? Because Jerome and how? You have to remember that Lamar Jackson is a special talent. He's a very special player. He's going to get his regardless of what's going on. Let's talk. Let's see what's up with the comments before I keep going. Said Wilbert is here. Brown's in the house. Boy, what's happening, man? What's happening? You know what? We on the couch together. It's fine. You know what? I don't know if we rooting for the Bengals or not. I'm not really sure if that's legal, but they are an exciting team. They are one of those teams that just got talked about as far as exciting, electric, quarterbacks that put up tons of points. And yes, they did light the Ravens up this season, but we were playing with guys off the couch. I mean, they were basically sitting over here. Hey, man, did you play good that week? No, you didn't. Okay. But, you see how it is. It's just the Ravens hired guys off the couch. This was not the true vaunted defense that we know that the Ravens have had historically. Beastly defenses. So you have to look at how the Ravens win games and how everybody else wins those games. Like, as a defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills or for the Kansas City Chiefs, you should be angry. You should go into the locker room chewing at your team and let them know, like, hey, y'all collectively gave up 25 points. 25, you did not help the offense out. You opened up the floodgates and let things go down the middle of the field that should not have. This is on you. We could have lost this game because of you. It was a lot of trash defensive play out there and great quarterback play, no doubt. But at the same time, there were breakdowns, tons of breakdowns in defenses. So but let's just talk about the theme today. The theme today is Ravens fans get caught up in the moment, and then they want things, and they think that we can go get things out there to help beat this stigma of the Ravens not being good enough. So the statements out there are Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert are on a whole nother level. And they threw Lamar Jackson in the trash. Just like, all right, forget my boy. Like, he ain't been killing it. Yeah, he had a pretty off season, and he was injured and missed the last part of the season. But you got to look at – I'm going to flip back in my book here. We'll go back in the time machine just a little bit because I want you to look at what we were thinking about by week 3. And these are notes that I haven't touched since week 3. So through 3 games, this man was throwing over 230 yards, 230 plus yards. So he was averaging 253.7 yards per game, and he was leading the AFC in yards per completion. That was in the first 3 weeks of the season. And the only 3 games he had the previous season that were over 230 yards, I think he only had 3 games that he was over that. But his first 3 games this past season. So you see Lamar was ascending. There were some breakdowns with the coordinator. Look, y'all want the guy fired. I'll be honest with you. Like, hey, you know what? He put the stats up. I want to protect the guy. I know y'all want to fire, but he's still here. It must have been a coin flip while somebody was having Mai Tais or whatever in the Bahamas, and that's how Witt got fired. But I'm just saying, Roman's still here. We got to deal with it. Anywho, so let's see what the comments are. We got Wilbur says, y'all were injured this season, so they had no choice but to hire from off the couch. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for making that great point. It says, yes, all 22 says, be who you are, not who other people are for a moment. And that's exactly what I'm getting at. This team has a dominant ground game. This team has an amazing defense. No matter who seems to pick up the helm as the coach, we still figure it out at defense. And I'll get into the candidates who are up for that position in just a minute. But it's like when you look at what we had this season, some of the good things that we had this season, don't be so quick to, I was one of those people that was just like, wow, Hollywood really screwed us over. But Lamar and Hollywood's chemistry was really on point in the beginning of the season. They were part of the comebacks for the Ravens. They helped beat the Chiefs together with the jump pass. Or do you not remember? Yes, the Lions game was absolute trash, but the comeback against Minnesota, that was Hollywood and Lamar, that connection there. It was beautiful. We have good pieces of this team. So we're so quick to forget the 2019 MVP. We forget Mandrews is an absolute grown man out there doing his thing. I mean, he's amazing. You forget the tandem of Hollywood and Mandrews are the first tandem since 1996 to have over 1,000 yards apiece as receivers. We haven't had a killer wide receiver since Michael Jackson when it came to those guys that were homegrown. Actually, I don't even think Michael Jackson was a homegrown talent, but the receiving record, I think it belongs to Michael Jackson for a season. Our highest rated receiver at one point in time wasn't even the lowest. I want to say, was it Antonio Brown's lowest receiving season did not equate, or our highest receiver didn't equate to that. I'm over here messing up words and stuff. Let's check out the comments. All right, so 2 running teams still in the AFC, 2 passing teams still in the AFC. It's not about the style of play. It's about the execution and the adjustments. And you got to think about it. If either of those teams were playing the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs with a team that is leading the league in time possession, do you think for 1 second that they're not going to, like Baltimore's game plan will be keep away in those situations? We're not in it, but if they were, they would be playing keep away. This would not be a huge scoring type game. And let me tell you why, because there were high-powered offenses that Baltimore played in the playoffs. And let me tell you how it went down. Now, these were some L's. So 2019 playoffs versus the Chargers, 23 points scored. How many points were scored last night? A lot. So 23 points scored for the Chargers. And the Ravens almost came back and won that game if it weren't for drops. So it was 23-17. So let's talk about the high-profile players. So both quarterbacks blew it up last night. They had 300-some yards. 378 yards passing for Patrick Mahomes last night. So go back to the 2019 playoffs where the Chargers faced off against Phillip Rivers, who is known to go ahead and tear it up through the air. Rivers had 160 passing yards that game. Eckler had 29 rushing yards, and Williams had 42 receiving yards. So what's that tell you? Baltimore's not going to let you do that to them. They're not going to let it happen on defense. Like I said, no matter who the coordinator is, because when we get the entire secondary back, that defense is still going to be stellar. And that ground game, that time possession is going to handle business. Just to prove another point, let's go back to it. The 2020 playoffs versus the Buffalo Bills. Ryan Tannehill, he had 88 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. That's gonna be against the Titans. The Titans, my bad. So yeah, Tannehill has 88 total yards. That was through the air, folks. 2 touchdowns that were passing and 1 that was a rushing touchdown. Henry actually had a passing touchdown, 195 yards. That's where we got the doors blown off of us, and that's where all 22 is talking about the rushing teams. So yes, he had a passing touchdown, and he blew the doors off of us on the ground game. But I believe that was Earl Thomas. He just wasn't about that life as far as tackling. He took a decent angle, but he got handled, and he got caught with his pants down on the big touchdown from the little skinny small wide receiver that plays for Detroit now. Khalif Raymond was his name, who had a 45-yard reception for a touchdown, but really he was their leading receiver, and Baltimore put clamps on the team for the rest of the time. They were trying to make a comeback. Hollywood Brown did show up. He's a Hollywood playoff type of guy. Now let's go to the Bills game. In the Bills game, Allen, who threw up major yardage last night, major touchdowns, had 206 yards and 1 touchdown against Baltimore. Singletary, their lead running back, had 25 yards rushing total. And Diggs, he had 106 yards and 1 touchdown. So what's that tell you? Baltimore is not going to let the big-time scoring, big-time plays happen. There may be one player who's going to go off, but it's not going to be a full-on light-up show against a team that runs the ball, plays keep away the entire time. These prolific quarterbacks sitting on the bench are going to be in a little bit of trouble. You saw the game against Kansas City where they came into the house of the Ravens, and Baltimore was able to play their style of ball and use their star QB to handle business. Y'all got to forget about what you've seen yesterday. Yes, it was magical. It was beautiful. It's probably the best playoffs weekend that you can imagine. And Tom Brady, when Tamisha goes down, I'm excited, because of the fact that this is a Tamisha-less Super Bowl, no Tom Brady Super Bowl. So I am overjoyed, and I really could care less how this ends. I'm going to, be eating popcorn, just be watching and excited. But I don't care how this ends because Tom Brady's not going to get another ring, so that excites me. Let's go back to the comments here. Lisa says, "What's up?" She said, "Hey, Jermaine, your wife isn't happy because Tom Brady was eliminated yesterday." Yes, she is very hot right now. She'll probably have some bitter things to say. She's been yelling at the kids, all that. It's been bad. I'm kidding. No, she's gonna be all right. She's one of the people that it just brushes off her shoulder. She's like, yeah, whatever. You can't really get under his skin. She's got tons of students that she had to answer to today. I'm pretty sure they gave her the business. I probably didn't have to say a word, but there are a lot of folks out there. Y'all want to go ahead and hit her up? Just get that little jab in and say, hey, you didn't get it, but I'm pretty sure she'll do the Dallas Cowboy mode and talk about how many rings she got and all that good stuff. But yeah, she's pretty hot, or she was pretty hot. I think she got over it though. Anywho, Lisa says, we'll be back. Don't worry. We all still believe and we all still achieve. And that's the thing. I feel like right now this is going to be a mass exodus for these fake Ravens fans because they finally recognize, all right, look, it really takes some heart to be a Ravens fan. We've been through it. We've been through a lot. And it's not going to be a quick fix that's going to fix this team. Y'all have to take a look at what is currently there and what we need to work on. So let's see. Going back to my topic here, like I said, Mandrews is a real one. We're missing dogs. We're missing dogs at almost every position. We had injuries out the wazoo. We brought a wounded animal in to Baltimore for the Chiefs just to feast on, and it didn't happen. So imagine if we had all the starters, what that game would have looked like. This should be a full-on mulligan. Honestly, I wish that Steve Bisciotti and Eric DeCosta had to sit down and say, hey, you know what? Mulligan. Let's do it all over again. Let's see what happens. And here was another headline I wanted to talk about was, so after the last night, Marquise and Mandrews are no heel / Kelsey is what was said on another show. I'll be honest, it was lunch break hot take. And they may have a point that, Marquise will never be Tyreek. But Mandrews is on that level with Kelsey. He's on that level. We know it because he just got voted to an all-pro team ahead of Kelsey. He is that dog. And I think, when it comes to primetime games, yes, Kelsey has shown up a lot more than Mandrews, but you see a guy who has just got some dog in him now, and he don't got paid his money, so it looks like he wants to perform now that his morale has risen and his bank account has went up. So let's go. So let's see. Lisa says, I'm not happy with the Wink Martindale firing. I like Wink. I do too. There were some defense coordinators I did not like Dean Pease and Juan Castillo, and there was a few others, but I definitely was a fan of Wink Martindale. He was definitely a player's coach, and I think he's going to do great wherever he goes because not only could he call plays, but he could lead men, and that's what it really takes to be a head coach in the NFL. Is can you lead millionaires? So let's see what else is said here. They said Kelsey and Mandrews. So I said Kelsey and Mandrews. They're both special. They on the same level. Weeks 1 through 6, we thought Marquise was really coming along, and he was. He was making big time catches. He had some drops against the Detroit Lions when we wanted to go ahead and have pitchforks to come out and get this guy. But look at it. 13 drops on the season. They actually ain't bad compared to all the other teams. They had 26. Some of the top teams that were even still in the playoffs, they had 26 drops on the season. I mean, I'm pretty sure their fans were kind of ticked off at those drops. There were mistakes made this weekend, lots of mistakes by other teams, especially when it came to the Rams game. I ain't never seen anybody, let a team come back like that other than ATL off of a botched snap, fumble from their top wide receiver, a fumble from their starting running back, and it just and then a missed field goal. Like they let Brady back in that game, they probably should have lost it. But I just don't understand, how you let a team come back. Like there was tons of mistakes made, and in normal Ravens, they rarely make those mistakes. Last couple of years, yes, against the Buffalo Bills, Pat McCarry and then Lamar, those were three huge mistakes with the botched snaps, the pick six, and then the botched snap that caused Lamar to get his concussion. So it's pretty bad there, but Baltimore typically doesn't make those type of big mistakes. What's going on, Drop Dead? Glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. Thanks for coming through. Y'all make sure y'all invite some folks to the room. I appreciate you. Bless Brian is happening. What's happening, man? He's in the room. What's going on? I'm glad you're here, man. Hey, so I'm still going over these things here about what people are saying and what my response is. So, of course, they're saying right now that Marquise will never be Tyreek. So I made a comparison last night, and I think it's a fair one. Marquise may not equal Tyreek, but he equals Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman is a wide receiver who's speedy, who doesn't have a complete game. Hollywood is speedy, and he does not have a complete game, but they are both improving as wide receivers and for their quarterbacks, and they have a good connection now with their quarterbacks. And I think it's a fair enough assessment. I'm not going to say Hollywood is Hollywood anymore. Like I said, he's B-roll or he is just Marquise, because right now it is not Hollywood type play, but the guy is able to turn up at different parts in the game and also in the playoffs. Lisa has a question. She says, will John have a new formula for going to the Super Bowl? No, his formula is he's stubborn as all get out. I don't know if y'all recognize that. His philosophy stays the same, and I'll get into that in just a minute here. He knows exactly how he wants to win a championship. The rest of the league may be going right, but John is going to go left. I'm probably saying that backwards on the screen or whatever, but John is going to go left when it comes to how his philosophy is for winning the championship. It is ground and pound, use your quarterback abilities. Yes, get you, as far as the scheme goes, he's still rocking with Roman. And so what it's going to look like. It's going to be RPO, but different versions of it. They're probably going to pull in some consultants during the offseason to figure out how to maximize this offense. They're going to listen to T. They're going to listen to Keith, and hopefully be able to build more routes within these RPO schemes. And they're going to find ways to get Rashad Bateman involved a little bit more. Because if this guy had been there all 15 games, he would have had over 730 yards on the season. 730 for a rook. So it can get even better. And honestly, I think he's on the way to being like the next Justin Jefferson. That's my opinion. Yes, bless Brian. Here it is. I heard it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here, because everybody's peeking over the fence right now, and they see something. They see pretty things out there. They do. They ain't loyal. They keep talking about Antonio Brown. This has been a topic last season, the season before. It's constantly coming up as if this is going to happen. I even see Lamar with the devil is on Twitter, thinking that this is a good fit for Baltimore. Well, let me tell you something. If you take a look at who just left and why he left. Wink just left. I don't know if he got fired. It looked like they said they had a difference in philosophies. difference in philosophies. If John Harbaugh has a difference in philosophy with this guy who's actually bringing him some success on defense and does not do all types of crazy stuff, do you think Antonio Brown and John Harbaugh are going to have similar philosophies when it comes to the game of football? Heck no. No, they're not going to have similar philosophies. They're going to disagree all the time, and Harbaugh is going to put him in the doghouse just like he put Tyson Williams, just like he put Chris McAllister, and everybody else that goes to John Harbaugh doghouse. Antonio Brown will be there as well. I don't think it's a good signing at all. That guy is a locker room cancer. He is a cancer to teams, and his history shows it, and you don't know exactly what he's going to get into next. He's an aging player. I'm sorry to say it, but he's in his 30s. It's time to get youth on the team, and the price will never be right for Antonio Brown to come to Baltimore. We got too many other things to pay for, and wasting money on that guy who could be a full-on media headache and end up doing dumb things like just running off the sidelines and causing all types of distractions to the team. No, it's a waste of money, waste of time. Here we go. Yes. So he said, we don't need the drama. We're happy with what we have. Right now, if you sign Antonio Brown, you hinder the ability of Rashad Bateman. The catches, the abilities. Y'all saw what he was able to do against the Cleveland Browns. He had 7 catches for over 100-some yards. Him and Andrews were really balling out. It was with the backup quarterback. Imagine that chemistry with the starting quarterback, our guy, LJ, whether it's under contract or on the 5th-year deal with Bateman. That chemistry right there, him and Hollywood and Bateman and Mandrews. We got the weapons. For once, we don't have to go into a draft thinking about wide receiver. It doesn't have to go that route. We can go after something that we need. All right, Tough Puppy got some words to say. Y'all going to hate when we don't sign him and y'all complaining about no weapons. So that's the thing. We don't have to go into this draft complaining about weapons right now. We don't. We got them. The weapons are there. Are they Tyreek-like? No. Are most weapons Tyreek-like? No. Is Antonio Brown Tyreek-like right now at this stage in his career? No. But give Bateman a chance. Give him a chance. Like we said, let's see. Like I said, go back to week 14. 103 yards, 7 catches, and he was making dominant X-type wide receiver catches. He was going down, winning 50-50 balls. Jameis Winston could have thrown those balls, and he would have came down with them because he's an aggressive type wide receiver who can go up. He plays taller than his 6'2" frame. He's aggressive. He does things after the catch. This could be a receiver that could be the number one, but you got to give him a shot. You got to stop burying him with veterans. You saw when he went in, Sammy Watkins actually disappeared. Go look at the tape. Let's see what let's see. Tough Puppy has something else to say. Okay, he says Hollywood and Bateman are not enough. Sorry to say, Andrews is great, but still. See, that's the thing. You got to have patience, man. When it comes to this organization, when it comes to development of wide receivers, you got to have a little bit of patience. I'm not talking Miles Boykin patience because that might take a while. And we don't have that type of time. We ain't got that type of time, so folks. He got about as much time left in his contract as I have on this show. I think I liked Boykin, but at the same time, it's not going to happen. But Bateman can be that dude. You just got to give him some time. Like, he was only there for 12 games of the season. Wasn't there for the full 17. And Tough saying we can't rely on a second-year player. What was Justin Jefferson? Just saying. Can't rely on a second-year player. What is Jamar Chase? He's a first-year player who got 1,500 yards. Rashad Bateman comes out the gate. Lamar and him could get that chemistry. He could go high. This could be a really big target for both of them. It could open some things up for Hollywood and Mandrews if he shows that dominance on the outside. Bless you saying sign Antonio Brown as well. Do y'all really want this drama? How much y'all think he gonna take? Right now, he was mad about not making his money. He was going to get an extra meal for so many catches, but those catches went to another wide receiver, which is why he feigned the injury, which is why the coach was like, yo, get in the game. We're losing. We need you. Go playing around. I know you're going to get your targets, but you're still going to go in there and play. He's like, nah, I ain't trying to play. Forget this. I'm injured. You can't make me go in. I quit. Or you're fired or whatever. So anywho, so engraving. He's in there? I know that. Don't diss Boykin. Look, Boykin, you know Boykin. Come on. He is a camp all-star. I mean, full on comes into camp and it's phenomenal. And should we turn him into a tight end? Possibly. I could see that. Like I said last year, I said it. He's got great blocking skills. They only bring him in there to block anyway. Go ahead and make this man a blocking piece to the interior right there, and then find ways to get him open. Maybe we could have that good 3 tight end set that we had in 2019. That would be great. But right now, look, there's too many options, and Prochet and Wallace deserve that opportunity to get their shine on, to be honest. Like Duvernay, we see what Duvernay can do. He can be that jet sweep guy. He can beat some guys in the red zone. We saw that with the Detroit game. We saw that in other games. Duvernay's got an opportunity. He needs that opportunity to shine not only on special teams and be able to shine in this organization in the slot. Give Bateman his opportunity for them reps, and let boy can either move in to the tight end position or be released to another team. Y'all talking about trade? I know a few of y'all was talking about trade the last show. No, I don't think we're going to get much, if anything, for Boykin. All right, let's see. Tough Puppy, what'd you say? This is the year we have to go all in. If it ain't AB, get a veteran wide receiver now. Maybe someone like Ridley. I keep trying to figure out where this money is. Y'all keep like digging money up out of nowhere. Maybe y'all got something that I don't know about. Maybe Lacey DeCosta's on Twitter giving y'all tips. But I'm telling you right now, the money is not right. When we go back to sign all of the veterans that we need to sign, I believe there's only 13 million left, or 14 million left on the cap if we sign back the people I think about signing. I think it was probably like 4 people. But and I think Bozeman was one of those. I didn't let him go to free agency in my eyes. He didn't go. Let's see what else we got. Bless Brian says, I'm the GOAT. No, I'm kidding. I know he's talking about engraving. So Tough Puppy says, Bateman is not JJ or Lamar. You got to give him time, man. You got to give him time. This dude on the outside does some magnificent things. Go back to the Dolphins game and watch. When Lamar started throwing the ball outside, you could see him making those catches and making things happen down the field. There's going to be an opportunity for this guy to get his second year on. And I'm telling you, just be there, be patient, and be ready. And come back and say, hey, you know what? Couch Rider Raven, you was right. Let's see. LBHT is in the building. What's going on? Said, if you want to win, put AB in. Boy, y'all on this bandwagon of AB. Look, you want a headache, you go ahead and get AB. Look, he better come with a full-on lifetime prescription of aspirin, because that's exactly what you're going to need. AB is a headache. You don't need that drama in your life. You can win without guys like AB. Let's see. Come on, W from okay, Common W from Lush Place. Hot take. Okay, Lisa says, if I were Antonio Brown, I would be going home. If I were Antonio Brown, Love would be going home. Okay, let's see. All right, so Engraven says he'll be traded this offseason. Oh, he must be talking about Boykin. It must have been a lot of comments. I'm trying to catch up on him, folks. Let's see. Stop spamming. He's talking for Bless Brian saying, it's Tough Puppy, stop spamming. Okay, cool. And then it said AB will be cheap, especially since he's been public about wanting to play with the Ravens. Don't think it'll happen. Don't mind if it does. I see, like I said, it don't feel right. It don't feel like it's a move that Baltimore needs to make. All it does is bury the receivers who need the opportunities to grow, to come in and do their thing. And I think we got one Brown, and that's enough. That's all we need right now is Marquise. And I ain't saying that's all we need, but I am saying giving these young receivers an opportunity would be great. Let's see. Tough Puppy says, nah, I'm trying to prove a point, little bro. I don't know what's he going off on. Anywho, let's move forward here. So, like I said, AB is not the answer. Let Bateman heat up in year 2. Like I said, we're looking at a Justin Jefferson type talent. So let me move forward into the Wink talk. So with Wink being gone, like I said, it might have been a difference in opinion there. Honestly, it may have just been a coin flip while they was drunk flipping, doing Mai Tais or whatever in the Bahamas, because the location got changed from Bashadi's nice little estate to the Bahamas. They decided to go out there. But Wink's gone. Basically, difference in personality, difference in philosophies. I think Wink was just like, hey, look, man, my philosophy is spam the heck out of this blitz button. Let's get her done. And John's like, look, man, I need you to be a little bit conservative. Nope, this is what I do, man. This is what I do. And he was like, all right, look, there's the door. Actually, there's the door right there. But he had him leave town, but there are other candidates available. And one of the top candidates available right now is a guy who his team caused 34 turnovers last season, a league high for the Dallas Cowboys. And that is secondary coach Joe Witt. So he started off or part of his history, I guess NFL history, is a Falcons DB coach assistant in 2007. He had 11 seasons with Green Bay as a defensive quality coach. He was ATL, Cleveland, and Dallas's defensive backs coach from 2019 to 2021. And then he could fall through pretty much if Dan Quinn gets a starting job elsewhere, because he's taking some interviews as well. But the Seahawks are also interested, so that could be a big problem. So that is one of your top candidates. So it's something that's probably surface level that everybody else knows. And then there are other folks that are in the organization. True Ravens recognize this guy's name, Joe Cullen. So he's with the Ravens before the Jags. He has D-line history going all the way back to 2006 with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baltimore, Cleveland, Idaho State, Detroit Lions. I mean, he's got the experience to make sure our defensive line is shored up and we're not letting things run through us like crazy, even with Calais Campbell in the win, possibly, and B. Will. So Matt BK, he could probably get him coached up, ready to rock, and make sure our Broderick Washington is ready to go as well. Then there's Coach Mike Mcdonald. So Mike Mcdonald, of course, was with Baltimore before, went over to be Harbaugh's, the other Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh's defensive coordinator in Michigan, and that's where he was currently serving. And so there's a possibility he can come on back. So he was also, I want to say he was the defensive assistant, the linebacker, and DB coach from 2014 through 2020. So look, it'd be nice to have that familiar face. He knows the continuity. And then you have Chris Hewitt. So he was with the Ravens when the Ravens won the Super Bowl back in 2012, that good 2013 run, Joe Flacco doing his thing. He was on the other side of that. He was a pass D coordinator in February 2020 recently. So I think there's an opportunity to have a decent, some continuity there. He knows the history. He's coached up legends. And then Jim Leonard, who was with the Ravens back in the day, helped advance the defense back in 2008. And then he spent a couple seasons in DC as a DC for Wisconsin. So looks like he's liking it there, but I think there may be a good opportunity to pick that guy up. And then the final one would be Mike Zimmer, a guy who can run a defense, but he can't necessarily lead a team. In fact, if you watch the Purple Show, I want to say it was Purple Show podcast. It's just a Minnesota Vikings channel on YouTube, or Purple Daily. Purple Daily is what it's called. They wanted to fire this guy every single game of the season. In fact, even when Baltimore barely beat the Minnesota Vikings, they wanted Zimmer gone. They thought this was going to be the get Zimmer fired type game. So he's a solid defensive coordinator. He is not a good leader of an entire football team. I say bring him back. Let's see what he's got. Maybe he's great with linebackers. At least that's what I remember from the past. I'm hoping that he can show up. Let's go back to some comments here. So here we go. Everybody is going off about this. They still on the same old conflict here. Bateman is good. What you mean? Yeah, Bateman is good. So I don't know why I'm saying Bateman's good. I'm with you. So Lisa's saying no drama for me, please. So she don't need that drama. She's like, look, I don't need that drama in my life. So LBHT said can't deal with the headaches. Give me some TDs. Yes. Okay. Baltimore definitely needs to, I say put up some TDs, but you know how the philosophy is for the Ravens. It's grind and pound. It's not going to be electric putting up, 40 plus points a game or like that. Yes, they did that in 2019, but I think Baltimore's game plan is clock management. I think they like to run that ball, and it. That's why Roman's still here, is because they want to keep it on the ground. And when they get those great running backs back, they're going to run the ball. That's how they're going to win games. It's not going to be electric. It's not going to be beautiful, but I say still take advantage of the receivers we got and make sure that they can get the ball on the outside. I think the good approach was how they played the Denver Broncos game. But it's a little bit of both. Let's get it. All right. Bless Brian says, if Antonio Brown went to the Ravens, we don't need his attitude or drama or all that bull. So maybe, okay, so let's just say if I considered this, because I really don't want to consider it. If I considered Antonio Brown to the Ravens, there needs to be some type of conduct clause that cost him big. I'm talking full-on contract, him play for nothing. if he cuts up. One simple mess up, whatever, and either he's gone or he simply has to pay all his entire contract to charity or something on those lines. But make it hurt for this guy and get his life together. Get him, and he also needs a full-on a mentor, or I don't know what like a security guard / mentor, whatever. Somebody who has to watch his every decision and say, hey man, is that juice worth the squeeze, man? I mean, maybe we should think about this. And then when he starts to try and do it, hey, smack that hand. He needs a grown parent. I'm sorry, he needs a parent to walk around with him, slap that hand, say, hey, nope, don't do that. Nope. Like the progressive commercial, just trying to stop him from being an idiot. All right, Lisa says, I wouldn't feel comfortable with Antonio Brown. I prefer Hollywood. I'm with you. Yes. What's going to happen to Sammy Watkins? Well, he was on a 1-year contract. I think if Baltimore's saying mulligan, then maybe they give him another opportunity. He had some gelling with Lamar until Bateman came along. But just as I said, veteran wide receivers are hindering the growth of our young bucks. I mean, we saw in the Denver game that Prochet, when his code is unlocked, the dude turns up. And he has got some swag with him. If you saw the preseason game against the Washington football team, he scored a touchdown that kind of really, he grilled the guy. He grilled the guy pretty bad. And I think so. He's got that confidence and that swag, and he can find holes in a defense. I'm excited to see if he's got something else in the tank that we can see. All right, Tough Puppy, what's going on, man? All right, if you're looking for a rookie to step up as a 1, then you're not a Super Bowl. What are you seeing? Do you not see the Bengals right now? Can you see what's going on right there? There is a generational talent, rookie wide receiver who has brought this team to the playoffs. Go look at his stats. This dude had over 1,400 yards this season. I think it was 1,455 with 13 touchdowns. He scored 20 touchdowns in college. The only reason I know all this stuff is because he was one of my favorite players in college. And low key, I'm excited to see him and Joe Burrow because I'm an LSU fan. I feel like, it's something about the purple. I guess it's the purple. I'm sorry. But it's now that the Ravens is out of it or whatever, I just feel like, hey, this is an exciting team to look at and say, hey, you know what? I'm rooting for these two to be great. And not saying I'm going to root against my son's team, but it just looks like, hey, this is a nice team to root for, and that is a good rookie wide receiver. He's having fun with it. He had a pretty bad preseason. I thought for sure he's going to get cut from the team because he had a crazy girlfriend on Instagram going nuts. But he managed to make it to the regular season and did great things. So, yes, you can blow up in your first year. It's a possibility. You can blow up in your second year. There are great players out there who took their second year and blew up. And then if you look at even basketball, it took Steph Curry like 3 years to get where he was and become the legend that he is now. Because in the beginning, everybody was like, this dude's terrible. And then he just turned all the way on. Rajon Rondo. He looked goofy as all get out in his first couple of years. And then he turned up. Give them opportunity. They'll get you there. All right. So then, of course, there's also Deebo Samuel. I mean, you talking about the 49ers. Deebo Samuel was turned up in his first year, and now he's full on in an elite just weapon. We can't even call him a wide receiver because the dude comes out the backfield, slot, reverse, you name it, down the field. It's just he's the whole weapon to the team. They use him entirely too much. He actually did get hurt towards the end of that game, gave his soul for the 49ers. That's a early year wide receiver who's still developing to be great. Give these young bucks a chance. Next. Lisa says, I'd love to see Tony Weaver in Wink's old job. Makes Anthony Weaver there. I mean, former Raven, player. Let's get it. Have the guy there. Have him bring that Super Bowl mentality to Baltimore. Sharon, what's going on? I'm not sure if I've seen you here before, but thanks for coming through. And hit that subscribe button for me. I appreciate you. Make sure y'all hit the like. We got 7 people in the room. Let me at least get 7 likes on this video. I'm begging y'all. Anyway, she says, Ravens need weapons on offense. AB, yes, forget about personalities. We want a Super Bowl. Okay. All right. I just don't think he's there. I don't think he's the piece. Like for the Buccaneers, was he the piece? Did he get things done in the Super Bowl? Yes. But honestly, right now, did the Buccaneers really miss Antonio Brown yesterday? It didn't show. I'll be honest. They threw the ball up to Mike Evans and he was handling business like it was no problem. They still had Gronk, no biggie. Look, They still had number 10 out there. I want to say Miller. He was like basically a faster Julian Edelman version. They had wide receivers to get it done. And that Tyler Johnson dude was beasting as well. I mean, the weapons were there. It was not them at all. It was definitely Brady making some bad decisions out there and just dealing with a lot of pressure from that line. So, no, I don't think Antonio Brown was the key piece that they needed to get past the Rams yesterday. And I don't think he's the key piece that Baltimore needs to get to the next level. No, our pieces rely on how we play our defense. And if we have an offensive line so that Baltimore doesn't have their quarterback have a helmet in his chest as he's trying to get the ball off. So if we can get some offensive line and get those star running backs back, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins can't handle business. Let's see. Lisa says, Tony Weaver will be perfect because he played with the Ravens and he knows the defense. Yes. LBHT says he wants to ground and pound using Lamar as the lead rusher that's got to stop. Look, that's what he was brought here for. That dynamic skill set of him running is phenomenal. It can't be canceled out. It needs to be celebrated and used. When he was doing his thing, even in the COVID year, I want to say in 2020, he was getting 50-yard touchdowns against everybody in the NFC East. He was pretty much doing the read option, killing it. That still needs to be part of the game plan. Y'all have to recognize him as a thrower and a runner. That RPO, and it has the read option in there. It needs to be part of the game plan. You can't take it out and say, hey, let's make Lamar great through the air, whatever. He needs to get out of that mentality as well. He needs to recognize that his strength is to run, and his game plan should be check 1, check 2. It's not there. Okay, we gone. Because every yard is a yard. Every yard is a yard. All right, so Prochet is not good. You got some really just shots out here. You just don't even want to give anybody. So you want to take them all and just toss them in the trash. And I don't know what you want to go after, but we ain't got no money. We ain't got no money. And this ain't Smokey's mama. She can't make it enough. All right. So let's go here. It says once again, Bateman isn't Chase. I ain't say Bateman was Chase. Did I say Bateman was Chase? I said Bateman has the ability to possibly be a Justin Jefferson. I didn't put him on Chase's level. Chase right now is playing out of his mind. But if you give this guy an opportunity, he will come down with some nice catches. All right. So I appreciate you, Bless Brian. Keep me updated on the likes. I got 12 likes, so appreciate you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, smack the bell. We're trying to get to 1,000, and I appreciate y'all bringing me over 800. That was awesome. We did it within an evening. It was cool. Anyway, Tough Puppy says AB was the Bucks' best. God, get out of here. AB to the Ravens is crazy talk. Thank you, Michael. Tell him. All right. LVHT says he was brought here to play QB, not be the lead rusher. Look. We got to get it done how we get it done. If he's got the running backs back, if he has all of the stable of running backs that we normally have with good running backs, because honestly, what we had to deal with was Le'Veon Bell and Murray, who didn't catch on to week 18. If he's got J.K. Dobbins and he's got Gus Edwards back, he ain't got to do all that. He don't have to do all that, but he can be still a part of that because that is what he was brought in here for, his athleticism and his ability to throw the ball. You can't cancel them out. Just because he is good in the air, don't sit there and cancel his legs out and say, no, we're not doing that anymore. No, that's part of his talent. I'm sorry. That's what you bought with the package. If you wanted a statuesque type of quarterback, go get you one. But that's not what Baltimore wanted. For years, that's not what Baltimore wanted because they brought in guys like, Tyrod Taylor, your Troy Smith, and all those guys because they were trying to form something like that, but they just didn't know if it would work. And with Lamar, it does work. Let's see. Thank you, Lisa. Tell him. San Antonio Brown to the Ravens, my foot. Mike says, Lamar's threat to run is especially valuable. Defenses must account for it on every play. If he stops running, he turns into Tyrod Taylor and gets timid back there. Y'all, if y'all disagree with that, please go look it up. Go look at Tyrod when he stopped, when he was forced to run in that Tennessee game back in the day, he lit it up. You saw him just juking people left and right. And he got injured on the play because he did a little bit too much. But you see Lamar running smart. He's able to get out of bounds. He gets what he wants, and then he gets down or he gets out of bounds. This dude plays the game smart. And the time he gets injured was actually on a throw. So I don't want to hear, oh, he's going to get injured. No, he got injured on a throw. Oh, yeah. So the shirt here, I appreciate you, man. That's the fruit punch shirt. I love me some Marlon. I need him to go ahead and get some more of those punched out fumbles. That dude is just awesome. He got the milk dud look. I think because I'm losing a little bit up here, I might go for the milk dud look, but we'll see what the keep stuff does. I ain't sponsoring nobody none, but I'm gonna try it out just to see if I can get a little bit of the growth, get the shine off the top of the head, because there's still hair. There's hair there. There is hair. Anyway, Mike says Lamar RPO with crossing routes early could be a killer. They were running mesh. It's just Lamar's got to see it. Don't get me wrong. Like, the concepts they're there. It's just, as a quarterback, you cannot sit here and look for the deep shot every time. You can't look for Holly every single play on that deep ball. You have to look at what's there, especially if they're running zero blitz against Lamar. They have to look for mesh, and that mesh needs to go. His first read in a mesh play needs to go to that interior drag across the side, or a drag or slant. Somebody's coming across his eyes so he can beat that blitz. All right, so led the team. So lunch break hot take says Lamar has led the team in rushing 4 years straight. Our RBs don't matter. They don't matter. He only got, you got to look at it. So when Lamar did get those, when he led the team was rushing for 3,000 yards. Lamar was only accounting for just a little bit over 1,000 on each one of those. I think that year he beat Vic's rushing record was 1,200, but then he got 1,000 the next year. And those running backs were accounting for 800 here and 700 there, or whatever. They were getting it in. So it was a decent share that being given to those running backs. This year, yeah, there was a lot put on his back. But I think that Lamar needed those star running backs back so they could take some of that load away and make it a lot easier, make it more, more of a shakeup, so that the defense did not just cue in and tee off on Lamar the entire time. Let's go here. So Mike says they can worry about Lamar's legs in the passing game too. Just look at the long TD versus the Titans in the playoffs last year. He has a good arm. He can throw that rock. We saw that with the Denver game when he launched that thing up to Hollywood. He has the ability to hit the deep ball. I like it. I do. But at the same time, you got to mix some things up. You got to be able to hit those intermediate passes, hit the drags, not drags to Pat Ricard. I don't think he's going to sign back anyway, because it's just going to be too much to pay for that guy. But you cannot, you have to look at your game and maximize it by throwing those drag passes, throwing those out routes, because that is what's going to make those defensive backs, they come up a bit versus sitting back on the sticks while they run cover zero and give Lamar heck. So that's what they got to figure out there. So Mike says they can't worry about Lamar's legs in the passing game too. Okay, so we mentioned that already. Layer in quick outs and runs with trips on one side and Mark Andrews on the other side. I like that. They did have that. So those plays were actually set up so that Andrews could get beyond the defense deep. You look at the all-22 tape, like there were plays when every time you saw a bunch, that was when Andrews was getting open, because of the way that the routes were being ran. There were some deep crosses, and it caused Andrews to get open. So let's see. Agreed. Quick passes early, then sets up the deeper routes and yes, the out route. So pretty much, if we did not have a ground game, which we have an amazing ground game, and we will, you'll see it coming back soon. But West Coast is a very good concept to have, setting up the short pass to set up the deep pass. But in the meantime, messing a few runs or doing that mesh point and doing a read option in the midst of that helps as well. Cannot take it out of the game plan. Let's see. Here it is. Roman has to go. I knew it was coming. So everybody's been chanting and riding all over town. I'm seeing CVS bars, pharmacies being burnt all over. Even the squeezy kids is pissed off in Baltimore. They going off right now because they want Roman gone. I get it. Y'all mad. I do. I really do. But I think if you fire Roman, then you got to fire Harbaugh. And the reason I say that is because you just got rid of Wink. That's one piece of the consistency that they had. And then the other piece of the consistency that you have is on the offensive side of the ball. If you fire both, why keep the head coach? That's what I'm getting at right there. So you're going to keep him? Keep him. But you're going to get rid of him? Get rid of all, if you don't get rid of both, might as well go ahead and get rid of the head coach at the same time. Y'all give me just a second here. All right. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, you get rid of one, you got to get rid of all of them, or you get rid of, excuse me, you get rid of both of the coordinators. Might as well go ahead and get rid of the guy leading the show. So they got rid of one, they probably gonna keep the other. I kept trying to look up the contracts. Did y'all see the contracts? Let me know, because from what I could see in 2020, Roman signed a 2-year extension, so I think that runs through this year. All right, here we go. So Lamar had 1,200 yards, and of that 3,000, that's not how you use a QB, man. No, it's not the conventional way of how we use a QB. But like I said, while all the other folks are going right, the Ravens are going left. This is kind of what they do. It's a philosophy that not many are going to agree with, but he is electric, he's exciting, and you can use this athlete the way you want to use him. That's the way that Baltimore is choosing to use him, and they did well when they used him that way. All right, so his killer this year was J.K. Dobbins going down, along with Gus. Is a great runner and a very capable receiver out of the backfield. Check out his Ohio State highlights. Yeah, I was very excited because he actually beat some of Zeke's records in college. So, yeah, thanks, Mike. Let's see, Adit. Hey, I think you're kind of new here, man. I appreciate you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and smack the bell. I need you. Let's go. All right, he says, are we overlooking former Ravens running back coach as well as other current QB coach Matt Weiss as potential Roman replacements? He also helped develop the Ravens analytics department with others. So me personally, if I had to go after a coach, I want to say it's the former offensive coordinator for the Clemson Tigers. So I feel like that guy was beast because he had an air raid offense, but also used a decent amount of RPO. And I think that would fit very well here. And it also would help develop Lamar even more. Let's see. And Mike says Dobbins and Gus will combine for 2,000 yards and another 500 in the air. I like it. I like it. That's what I'm talking about. If we can get something like that, along with what our wide receivers can do in the air, we could be a team in the playoffs, deep into the playoffs. We're still on this, so Roman isn't going anywhere. Yeah, for sure. At least it's not happening, Jason. Sorry, buddy. Harv's can go too. You always want somebody fired, LBHD. Every time I'm on the show, y'all like pulling Vince McMahon out the wazoo. Like, fire! Everybody should be fired. I want them all gone. Y'all, you have good talk about it. Don't get me wrong. It is full on. Y'all have good facts to go along with it, but at the same time, there are facts on the other side to tell the story of why we, probably need to keep that continuity there with the Ravens and have it a mulligan year because of the injuries and the lack of offensive line. But recognize that when things go great for the Ravens, Roman has something to do with that. If you look at the comebacks, Roman orchestrated those drives. He made those plays up for Lamar to be successful. If Lamar fails, then y'all blame Roman. If Lamar succeeds, y'all think it's all Lamar. It is not all Lamar. Some of these plays are drawn up for him to be successful. All right, so those are ludicrous numbers. Let's see. Yeah, it's according to Tough. Let's see. Kyler Murray can run, and you can see how they use him. Yeah, he always run like he had broke something at the house, and his parents would chase him. He's like, he's getting it, man, and he stay low. So yeah, I like how Kyler can throw it and run it. Let's see. Let's go to the new comments here. I'm probably way behind. So let's see. Mike says, hey, I agree Lamar is the most dynamic player in the game. Remember when Harbaugh told him that kids will be watching him and trying to play like him? Yes, Harbaugh is such a huge fan of Lamar. That's another reason he's going to get that contract, is because as long as they have confidence in Harbaugh, Lamar is going to stick around and Lamar is going to get his money. And I'm telling you right now, y'all probably going to hear first from me, Lamar getting $47 million. If y'all don't believe it, I'm telling you right now, Lamar going to get that $47 million. It's going to wait till things die down, so after the Super Bowl, so after y'all start getting off your little Pat Mahomes high and everybody else high, these dynamic quarterbacks out there. But then you're going to recognize, hey, Lamar's been putting up some stats. He's been killing it for his team. He's been putting the team on his back. We saw it early in the season, and the back broke because they overworked. I'm kidding, but I feel like there was a lot on his shoulders. There was a whole lot on his shoulders, and so it kind of really caused. Honestly, I think he got injured. He got injured on that play, but at the same time, I feel like he had a lot on his shoulders and was expected to carry this team. And then his production started to go down because everybody saw that, hey, Lamar is going to be, it's on his Lamar's back. So we can just tee off on him and not worry about much else. Justin says, Romans history after year 3, there's a significant regression. San Francisco and Buffalo example. Well, Buffalo, not so much. I'm going to tell you straight up. Roman got fired on a night that he put up 37 points on offense in Buffalo. 37 points, man. You get fired on a day you had a good performance at work. Do I get fired on a day that I made Master Sergeant? No, I still got that job. I still got that job. They didn't fire me when I put up a decent performance. I had a good year. He got fired on a good night, and he was used as a scapegoat because Rex Ryan didn't want to get rid of his brother. When it came to San Francisco, I'm not sure what the history of that was, but when him and Kaepernick were together, he took that young man to the Super Bowl. And when, with those two together, they were doing great things. All right. So Ravens need a new game plan. What they have won. What have they won? Okay, I see what you're saying, Sharon. I'm with you. Yeah, they got to go back to the lab, mix it up, and figure out how to fool people again. But at the same time, you're getting those running backs back. I can't wait to see what they look like with this new look Lamar. All right, Jimmy says, you think we can make some noise in the playoffs next year? Absolutely. Absolutely. With a defense again, with a solid run game, using the RPO concepts and using the outside wide receiver, actually using the X. You have to be able to target that X on the backside. I think Boykin's game did not develop because they did not use the X on the outside very much. And I think if they use Bateman more, make up plays to where he is targeted as the number one in that particular play, then they can take advantage of those and they can get somewhere in the playoffs for sure next year. Because one, I think the Steelers are not going to be much. The Browns are still they're up and down about Baker. They don't know if he's the guy or if he's not the guy. So it's, they're non-committal on this whole situation with him. They have everything except a quarterback who makes decent decisions in the clutch. And I think Baker is a pretty solid quarterback. He's just got to fine-tune some game. So it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a brawl in the North because Cincy is balling right now, but they did not get to meet our starters on defense. So they playing with the scrubs in the secondary, and they put up 500 some yards, set a record. Congratulations. It's not going to happen again. So we can get out of the AFC North into the playoffs. Baltimore's going to make some noise. You know how they are in the playoffs, man. It's another mentality. Let's see. It says Lamar was successful before Roman. He took us to the playoffs with Marty Moore. No. Okay, so you know why Marty Moroway got fired, right? He was given an opportunity to change into a different position on the team, and Roman was there making it all happen. I don't know if you go back to the pressers before when Roman and Lamar and John took over, it was Roman who designed that concept. Marty Morowig did not design that concept. In fact, Marty Morowig gave credit in the presser to Greg Roman's game plan, and it was so successful throughout the end there into the playoffs. That's why they decided to keep Roman and promoted him into that position. And then Marty Wig was like, no, I'm not taking a demotion. You out of here. And that's when he quit. It was not because of Marty Morningwig. Go back and check Twitter. Actually type in fire Marty Morningwig. Type in fire Marty Morningwig. I bet you will get a ton of old tweets that pop up saying, hey, keep Roman, fire Morningwig. And that's exactly what happened. I do get this a lot. So I'll go ahead and say it, man. Where you from, fam? Where you from? What's up now, fam? Yo, we ain't done yet. I'm saying we ain't done yet. No. Yeah, Peters, I do get that a lot as far as looking like Marcus Peters. I appreciate you. Let's see. We have the Asmodeus Thanatos. Man, that's an awesome name. You sound like a Greek god or something. That is cool, man. Yeah, appreciate you coming through. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the like, and smack the bell, man. So you look so much like that's another one, or is that the same person? Let's see. Subscribing to the show because you remind me of MP Juice, man. I'll take that, man. Look here. Hey, you think I look like MP Juice, man? Hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you. Let's see. I don't mean as an insult. We all love the yes. Appreciate you, man. So he got some other comments here too. Says this is a Super Bowl or goodbye. I'm betting EDC went up to Harbs and said you need to make the changes and let this team win. This is your last chance. Otherwise, you getting resigned. Oh yeah, I think so. They not signing an extension, right? Because they're like, hey, look, you made your choice. You decided to get with a wink. You and Romo, or it's gonna be you and Roman, not Romo, Romo. You and Roman, G-Ro are gonna ride this until you done. You know what? You gonna figure this out this year, or we're gonna have to have a disagreement ourselves and part ways because they don't like to fire people because saying you got fired is one thing, saying that you got laid off or y'all disagreed and you went elsewhere is another thing. All right, here we go. What else we said? Hence the panic wink firing. Yes, like I said, it was an option that they had there. I think they should have kept wink and then told him like, hey, just draw off the blitz button. Don't do that. We don't do that all the time here. All right, Tough Puppy says Marty was still calling the play. No. Marty was listening to Roman. Go look at it. Trust me when I say this. Go look at the pressers. John Harbaugh is giving the credit to Roman. Marty was actually basically reduced to a minimalist role towards the end of the season. Marty is the reason Joe Flacco got benched. Y'all say it was an injury all you want. That was a benching. It was a benching and a possible firing if Harbaugh did not make that change. Anyway, says Greg Roman didn't design that concept mid-season. Greg Roman had his playbook ready. He had his playbook ready. And the second they tried to bring it out, look, when Marty tried to take back over the plays, go back and look at the Raiders game. Marty tried to take back over the play calling for Lamar in that first half. In the first half, and what happened? Lamar threw 2 interceptions because he tried to go back to the Joe Flacco concept of playing. And then they recognized, hey, you know what? We need to play to Lamar's strengths. In the second half, you saw Roman's playbook come out. Go take a look, man. Trust me. All right, Sharon says it's time for spring cleaning of all him need to go. It's the same plays every game. Yes, they need to take different plays and they need to add them in. I ain't saying get rid of stuff, but there are things they need to keep, like that veer, the QB veer. I absolutely love it. They got to keep that thing. It is a thing of beauty. The inverted veer where Lamar runs up the middle and it's like almost big plays every time. Definitely keep that. RPO slant. Love it. The screens, they need to work on those because Baltimore, I don't know, they struggle with the screens for some reason. I'm not sure why. All right. So, yeah, we got to get to the Super Bowl. The window is closing. Yes, there's going to be an opportunity to get to this Super Bowl, and then there's going to be a dismantling of the roster because we can't afford it, but we got to pay a big-time Ferrari-type quarterback. So, I'm in full agreement. My Greek God here says the reason why they kept Greg Roman is because G-Ro was Jim Harbaugh's left hand when they coached in college. He brought him to the Niners. No, he brought him with him to the. Okay, so yeah, it was Jim's homie, and he's been quoted G-Ro as a great assistant. So I think there is a homies clause in there. There's a lot of the homies clause going on. So we're still going back and forth about the playoffs games. So yeah, the Ravens didn't get back into the Chargers playoff game until they started passing the ball. The run was too predictable. I can agree with that. They were behind. They had no choice but to try and come back. And I think that game, that could have been a combination of G-Ro and Marty. But I believe all of those concepts, or all the RPOs, read options, all of that game plan, and simply most of the game planning from the point that Lamar got brought into the game, that was a lot of G-Ro. You got to give G-Ro his due. There's a reason Harv said, hey, we're promoting you. And Marty, either take a different job or peace out. All right, so there's a decade of relationships between G-Ro and Harv's. Otherwise, he would have been gone. Yeah, you know it. He got his homies. Like Brooke Rouse, she said it before. Brooke Rouse, I'm going to keep screwing her name up. She said it before on the We Are the Ravens flock page. By the way, go ahead and check out that page. It's pretty fun to look at as long as you're keeping it clean, because right now the acceptability rating is way low where we're trying to get it back up again as far as the acceptability ratings. It's like 69%. And so, of course, if it keeps dropping, we might lose that page. So please go in there and keep it clean and, show some love to that page as well. But the relationships is what she was saying, like, hey, Harbaugh's need to stop hiring his homies. I am fully on board with that. When he hired Juan Castillo back in the day, I was pissed. I was like, all right, look, this whole hiring former Eagles buddies, it just didn't make sense at all. All right, so like LBHT, it's all love, baby. It's all love. You know, if we here, you got me over 800, man. Look, I owe you my first child. Kidding. All right, let's see. Said I'm expecting another early playoff exits next year if Roman isn't gone. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are things that you can project, but I honestly think if Roman is here and with a healthy Lamar, healthy line, good running backs, that's a formula for success for Baltimore. And I think the league thinks they got it figured out, but I think they're going to add some wrinkles in to add these wide receivers in their game and do some great things. I want to see the 3 tight ends come back as well. Let me see 3 decent tight ends come out there and have a 3 tight end set. Let's see. How did you start by being a Ravens fan? I was in 2007 after Sean Taylor, rest in peace. Saw Ray Lewis and was hooked. The Ravens even lost in the game, but swag is swag. So of course, my story. I think a few of y'all may have heard this before, but it goes back to Michael Irvin, favorite player as far as wide receivers of all time. I loved me some Michael Irvin. It's crazy about the Cowboys back in the day. Sorry, but that just kind of happened. We ain't had no team, you know. And so here I am, being brought up on football through the Cowboys to my stepfather because that was his team. And then the dynasty just started to crack. It got bad. Aikman was going for the concussion record. Emmitt Smith was getting like 2.3 yards per carry. And then you had the playmaker go down in the Eagles game on a simple tackle. His head just kind of went to the turf. My man didn't get up. It crushed my soul. And I actually changed the channel to my uncle's team because he put a hat on me. Because I saw we were eating crabs in Maryland. And I said, man, that's a nice hat. He said, it's yours. This was 1999. And so I changed the channel. And at the time, when I changed the channel, I see Ray Lewis holding up a corner. And he is shaking him, kind of talking to him. He ain't yelling, but he's talking to him because it was a huge pass interference play. That next play, that same corner that Ray yelled at went and scored a pick 6. And from that point, I was hooked. I was like, hey, I'm a Raven. This is my team. Let's go. Been a Raven since then, man. 1999. All right, here we go. We're still talking about highlights. Highlights of Minnesota. I said Adi says Minnesota right tackle Daniel Fayette. Okay, so we as far as checking players out, yeah, you can't teach height. 390 pounds or 380 pounds. Yeah, big boy. Love it. So, but of course, when you see the height, well, you saw Villanueva this year. I think he's like 6'8". If you ain't got that bend in the hips, sometimes doesn't matter how tall you are. Those other guys, the younger, quicker, spry guys, or shorter guys even can get underneath. And if you can't get low, they're going to get you. All right, Tough Puppy says we had Roman, a good QB, and good running backs in 2019 too, didn't see? Tough Puppy. What happened in the playoffs? What happened in the playoffs to our running backs? Or our top running back. So in the playoffs, Ingram was hurt. And they didn't trust Gus Edwards for some reason, which I felt was a full-on wrong. Like this dude was really good, and they need to give him that opportunity. He just didn't get it. And I think the tight end was hurt as well. And I think everybody got hurt against the Browns that I think 2 games prior. So we kind of went in there hurting. So let's see. How old are you? I swore you were 25. 25? No, I appreciate you. That is awesome. So I want to say thank you for the comment there. I am 38 years old. I'll be 39 in March. So yeah, appreciate the love, though, man. Let's see. So I want a left tackle that's 6'4", 6'5", 350-ish, and 6 explosive. I'll go with a 6'5", 6'6" guy. Yeah, give me, somebody that's athletic, somebody that can actually pull, that's versatile. Give me another, Makari type of individual, just a little bit taller, and I'll be excited. Just anybody in the first round would be would be great. I did some research on those. Go check out the previous video I did on offensive linemen. You can see it. It just has a whole bunch of fat boys on the page about replacements at left tackle or right tackle. I think it was right tackle, probably. Anyway, Tough Puppy's going off saying we need a new OC and more weapons on the outside. Like, just be patient, man. Be patient. This is one of those years you got to be patient and have that mulligan and trust in the system right now, man. All right. So my man says 38 years young. Yeah, appreciate you, Greek God. Let's go. All right. So left tackle, yes. And then forget about Ronnie. Okay. Well, I mean, what if he rehabs the right way? And we can't forget about Ronnie, because what happened was we rolled some things back because we wanted to try and make room for other players. But when you roll that money back and put it on the back end, actually, what we did was we gave him the money up front. But of course, the cap number is going to hurt later on. And so pretty much if we cut Ronnie Stanley right now, we'd be losing about $30 million. So you can't do that. So what you can do is hope that he retires or something. But I don't think he's going to do that either. I think that Ronnie's going to do the right thing. He's going to rehab. He's going to come back nice. And so there's something that you got to believe in this team. You know, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of love for a Ravens fan to come through and believe in what they currently have and what is going to happen going forward. Baltimore don't stay down long. They don't. This is a tough year. This is the bottom of the AFC North year. But they ain't going to stay long. They're going to come back, and they're going to come back strong. Believe that. Let's see here. Greek guy says, if Ronnie comes back, then we just drafted one hell of a rookie. So then we just drafted one hell of a rookie. Yes. Rookie tackle, I think. Yeah, that's what you're saying. So rookie tackle. So, yeah, we draft that. We get one heck of a rookie tackle. We get rid of AV. He goes to the unemployment line, bagging groceries at Albertsons or something like that. I don't care. Wherever he goes, maybe he goes and backs and re-enlists, thank you for his service. But we don't need AV here. If we got Makari on the right, we got Stanley on the left. If Cleveland eats the squirrels and he can be that left guard, be good to go. Maybe we go ahead and hash out a little bit of cash for Bozeman, keep him here so his wife can stop tweeting about missing Baltimore. And then we keep Zeiler. I think things will go right. I think we'll have the protection that we need then. But Cleveland's definitely got to step his game up. That's the second-year player we got to see shine. I mean, you all that big and getting owned at left guard? Nah, bro. We can't have that. Oh, then there's remember the Julio. Everybody was fussing last year about Julio. Oh, that reminds me. So go back and watch my comparison of Rashad Bateman to Julio Jones. Yeah, some of y'all might have some major disagreements with it, but go look at the tape of what he was able to do in college and look at what Julio was doing with the Atlanta Falcons, and you're going to see some very good similarities. You're going to see some things that Rashad Bateman has the ability to do, the things after the catch, to being able to climb the ladder for the ball. I mean, just toughness, physical toughness is what Rashad Bateman brings to the team. I cannot wait to see what this guy does in year 2. All right. Said, didn't someone say that Devontae Adams might want to come too? Well, Devontae might want to come, but you got to look at the market for a wide receiver right now. And because Nuke, D-Hop, set the market so high, the market number is like $25 million for a wide receiver. We got it? I mean, because I ain't got it. I'm going to check my pocket. I ain't got it. Like, it ain't there. It's not there. I checked the cap. It's definitely not there. We cannot go all out for a receiver like Devontae unless there's some things rolled around. There have to be some serious rolled around, and you wouldn't see Baltimore sign another thing. There would be comp picks missed, all that, if we allowed that to happen here. And I mean, some people are like, hey, so what if we win the Super Bowl? I'm with you. But do you think Eric DeCosta is going to do that? We can talk about what we want, but what do you think Eric DeCosta is going to do? He's going to make sound, responsible decisions and try and sign key players that are key to the core of this organization. That is Eric DeCosta's move. And he makes some savvy moves, and there are some moves that make sense to him, but you ain't going to see him break the bank. And if he does, I'll come on here and apologize. I'll even go on the LBHT show and apologize to all the fans if we make a major blockbuster, crazy wide receiver signing, which I just don't see happening. We got too much talent right here that's being developed. Let these young guys work on this first-year deal so that we can pay my man Lamar to get her done. Oh, here we go. Julio had a better year than Prochet, but Julio was hurt too a lot. And you saying he still had a better year? I mean, there were games that Prochet could have showed that he showed up in. He showed up in the Denver game, which was nice. But that was, like I said, you got to look where Prochet is on a depth chart. You're talking about Julio, who's the number 2 wide receiver when he's not injured, versus Prochet. Let's see, it was in Hollywood. You got Bateman, you got Sammy, you got Duvernay, and then there's Prochet. So of course he's gonna have a better year, man. He's like 5th on the depth chart. Come on, man. I love you. All right, as bad as we want to say Lamar had an offseason, he had us sitting at 8-4, first in the AFC when he got injured. It's crazy how people forget. They forget our guy. They forget what he was. They forget that he's a dude who can throw 4 interceptions in a game, and the game plan still puts him in place to win a game. I'm sorry. Lamar is great. Y'all could talk about Pat Mahomes. Y'all could talk about Allen all you want, but you got to remember that, hey, Lamar actually beat Pat Mahomes this year with the flaming trash can full of players. It was just like, it was really bad. It was like everybody had predicted the Chiefs to come in and dismantle the Ravens, and they came in and played their hearts out and gave the Chiefs the business. I won't say gave it, but they survived the Chiefs. They survived the Chiefs because they made them play their game and not the game that the Chiefs wanted to play. That's how Baltimore wins, is because they go a different direction than other teams. So let's see here. Great guy says, I didn't forget BDEJ. That's why I'm calling for Harves to be fired. All right. It says Prochet has 200 yards for his career. Yes, I'm not here to compare Julio to Prochet. I'm here saying that Prochet deserves an opportunity to gain more than those 200 yards because of what he can do, what his possibility, his ceiling is. You see Julio right now. Did you see him in the game in the game this past weekend? Was he quiet? He had a couple catches. It was nothing magnificent. You saw that AJ was the guy. Julio was he was quiet. It wasn't great. There were backups that came in when Julio was injured that had better games than him this year. So I'd say Julio was not worth the money to bring in. Plus, he was injured the entire time. I told y'all he was going to be injured. Anyway, so Boogie says this defense hasn't been Amish since 2018. You're going to spend as much as we aliens in the defame. It needs to be elite. Hasn't been elite since 2018 and won't ever reach that level again. Ever again? Well, don't we got Fruit Punch. We got MP Juice Man on the last year of his deal, and hopefully he's still able to stick around because, like I said, there's cap savings to be had if they got rid of MP Juice Man, but I'm hoping that they don't, because the value of a corner is obviously, cannot be overstated after that Cincinnati Bengals game. Just a lot of talent there that we need to make sure we bring back to have those corners solidify. And Tavon there, oh my goodness, we can still have a pretty solid secondary if we keep them on the team. That defense can come back to form. Oh, you were saying elite. Okay. So yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I agree, my man. So like they just got to recognize that when it comes to our defense, they know how to replenish. We got 10 draft picks this year, and I don't think we're going to use all 10 of them, but you're going to see some defensive additions, and they're going to do their homework. They're going to go to pro days. They're going to let us do our thing and do some study, and maybe they watch a little bit of our films, watch maybe some all 22 videos. Maybe they watch some of my top 5 players that I think that are going to be magnificent this year as far as rookies go, and maybe they make some picks. And those guys are going to show up. And you know how the Ravens have an undrafted free agent just about every year that shows up, usually on defense, that makes this team and turns out to be something great. Where is that Ladarius Webb? Where's that Danielle Ellerby? Where are those guys who are going to make the roster to make this team great? Somebody's going to step up, and there's an opportunity there with all these 10 picks. There's a lottery, 11 picks. There's a lottery of players, and every one of those is a lottery pick. Hopefully that lottery ticket, that scratch off goes well. We don't know what's underneath, but hopefully they do their homework, and it turns out right. So let's see here. You're seeing... what if they bring in someone like Marvin Lewis? I like old school defense coordinators because they come through and they have no fear. But the problem with that old school defense coordinator is majority of them don't know how to stop the slot, and they love their 4-6. And that's cool. Rex Ryan is definitely a fan of the 4-6. He brings that in. I think his dad was one of the people that kind of created that 4-6. But when it came to the slot, they didn't know what to do with it. I wouldn't mind seeing Flores come through as defense coordinator. I mean, I know he's probably got his pride right now. It's a little hurt because the Dolphins fired him when he was having a win streak of like 7 games after 7 losses. So I think he had a winning season and he still gets fired. They Lovely Smith the crap out of him. But I'd love to see Rex or Flores come here because they could teach this defense some things. It could be magnificent. Let's see, Anthony Weaver. Yeah, we talked about that already. The Ravens are built by defense. We need to evolve, but this defense is still my PB&J. Yeah, I love the Ravens defense. I love what they bring to the table. I love players like Pat Queen, who just completely plays lights out. When he sees it, he just shoots it. He shoots it and goes for it. Pretty awesome. So, or even the defense coordinator for Michigan. So I think that was what was his name? Hewitt? No. Mike Mcdonald. So I love Flores, but I don't expect it. He's a head coach. Is he right now? Because, I mean, he had such a huge ascension. He went from not even being called the defensive coordinator in New England, which is disrespectful by Bill, by the way. That was just straight up wrong, to being the head coach for the Dolphins and running an amazing defense over there that pretty much put a blueprint together. I mean, I know Cincy, they got away with, they got away with a couple things when they beat Baltimore. But really, the zero blitz was exposed on national television, or Lamar was exposed on national television with that zero blitz and how we couldn't do anything against it. Baltimore needs to use that zero blitz in that manner. The way that Wink ran the zero blitz was man coverage, press up everything, and then run the zero. But I love the way that Flores runs it because he had guys sitting back 10 to 15 yards, daring a slant to be thrown. But the blitz was coming so strong that you just couldn't do anything with it. And they jumped everything. Let's see. Yeah, McDonald. Are you talking about the McDonald, Mike McDonald. Anyway, says Jose says, I'm out. Have a good night, everybody. Make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you, Jose, coming through, man. Let's see. A Greek guy says he did an amazing job as a head coach for Miami. I'm with you 100%. And said, what about Ray Lewis and Ed Reed? So Ray said, hey, I'm not really interested in coaching. Ed said, I want a defensive specialist position. However, here we go with that same thing that Harbaugh, the reason he got rid of Wink is because they had a difference in philosophy. Ed Reed has a major difference in philosophy when it comes to coaching because Ed Reed is a player's coach. Wink is a player's coach. Ed Reed goes off script a lot. And I'm talking like digs off script for the Cowboys type deal, giving up a lot of big plays because he's taking a lots of gambles. Ed's experience is not as great. He would be the celeb to put fans in the stands, but is Harbaugh trying to put fans in the stands, or is he trying to make sure he's got a defensive formula that he can trust from somebody that will listen to his concepts? Now, and I'm not saying listen to Harbaugh's concepts is the best thing because we saw what his gambling habit did, but I am saying that he wants somebody that he can control. He loves control. He's a little bit of a control freak. He wants his guys to be able to be on the same page with him. And when they're not, sometimes he gets a little frustrated. Back when the Super Bowl was won, they got frustrated about a practice. That practice was supposed to be padded. Ray Lewis and them said, hey, we took a vote. John said, this ain't no daggone he's like, this ain't no democracy. This is a dictatorship. Y'all finna get in these pads. And they was like, no, we taking a stand. He's like, okay. We won the Super Bowl? You traded you're gone. You better retire. Y'all out of here. I'm bringing my philosophy in. So, and that's why Ed probably won't pay for it. Probably won't play for him. Bernard Paul is still salty. He's still on Twitter right now going off hating the Ravens as usual because he don't like Harbaugh. Ed Reed has gone on Instagram, said me and John Harbaugh don't think alike. We don't think alike. And maybe you don't need somebody that thinks alike like you're with you, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to have that have that person that you don't agree with pretty much 100% of the time on your team. It's really is. And then, of course, having that mentality of unitedness in front of your team without insubordination, that would be a difficult task at hand. So, yeah, pass game specialist position. Like I said, I'd like him there. I just don't know if John wants him there. He said, Harbs is terrible. So yeah, Harv he is bad when it comes to gambling. He has some flaws. The dictator piece, the gambling piece, the allowing the coaches or allowing the players to make decisions for you in key situations when you are paid to coach and make that decision and convince your team to roll with your decision versus saying, "Hey guys, what do y'all want to do? I know I get paid millions of dollars to make this decision in a clutch situation, but uh, you want to go for it, or should we?" Of course, their competitors like, "Yo, let's go for it, yeah," because they are competitors. They're not going to want to back down. Not going to want to back down. Anyway, but yeah, he's he's about to expire. I think when it comes to philosophies, Bill Belichick's no, excuse me, not Bill Belichick, Brian Billick, who just got hired by ASU, because they say he's a great mind of football, or a great defensive coordinator. I think maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But his philosophy got old when it came to the Ravens after that seventh year after winning the Super Bowl. Um, the philosophy got old. He kept saying the world's against us. You know, it's us against the world mentality. And I think the Ravens just got tired of hearing that philosophy. Baltimore's philosophy right now with John Harbaugh, I think it still works. I think it still works. They give him time. He is a staple of this team. I think, that consistency that he's going to have on offense, and I think on defense, he's trusting in possibly bringing in a coach who has that Ravens mentality. It may be well. It may do well for the team. I think the defense is going to be just fine. All right. So what do you say? My problem with Harv's is it's all about my homies versus actually getting a Super Bowl. That's the difference between Belichick and Harv. Now Belichick did bring in his son on the team, and then he went and brought back Josh McDaniels. So I think that continuity between those two is the reason that Brady has won some Super Bowls. Well, there may have been some, spying around stuff going on, but there was continuity in that too because McDaniels was doing it when he was in Denver. That's why he got a little bit of trouble over there. He comes back and gets caught doing it again against Cincinnati. I think they just want to try and get the advantage on teams, and that's kind of why they were winning games. But it wasn't just there. It wasn't just with the filming. It was every single aspect of the game, every loophole that they could find. If they could put a running back in the middle of the formation on the line, but maybe a little bit further off because it wasn't written in the playbook yet to do an out route in the middle of the line, they were going to do it because they felt like, hey, that's the way we exploit the game. If they're going to find some way to get penalties, to run time up off the clock all the way up to 5 minutes, until the NFL made a rule, they was going to continue to get those penalties. They found loopholes in the game, but they had consistency with everything that they did, the way that they executed, the way that they kept problems in-house. The Patriots were a full-on machine. Belichick is a mastermind. I can't stand him, but dang it, I show respect him. Winning by any means necessary he said, winning by any means necessary is fine with me. I'm with you to an extent. I mean, the integrity there is something I love to have is wins and integrity. I'm sorry, that's kind of how I've been brought up is by that, doing the right thing. Those nuances of how you win playoff games, yeah, finding those little things, as long as it's legal, I'm good with it. But the second it starts getting dirty and then you continually doing dirty, knowing that you're doing dirty, then that's a problem. Let's say Boogie says, why are the Ravens the only fans that don't want to get their future franchise QBs as many weapons as possible? So I think I don't think that's the mentality. I think you grow what you can and you spend responsibly. Like I've said this many times, like just about every single show I've been on. Do you want to be the New Orleans Saints? Do you? Because I don't. The Saints are really, really tough when it comes to, so they're really up against the cap. They're over the cap. Like right now, they're drowning in cap space. They're this gambler that just thinks they're going to come on top. When you $71 million behind in cap space and still you got to go through an entire offseason and trying to figure that out, there's going to be a mass exodus in New Orleans. And this year, it may be some key players that you're like, man, I can't believe they got rid of him. They may trade Michael Thomas because they are so hurting right now on that cap. So let's see. Hey, Malu, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. Make sure you hit the subscribe and smack that bell. Wink got fired as a defensive coach. Roman is next. Like I said, they fire one. If they fire both, they might as well go ahead and get rid of the coach too. Just saying. All right. So let's see. Today's league is about offense. Simple as that. Like I said, Harbaugh, he goes left and everybody else goes right. That's why he's a winner. Now, the Rams sign over their cap. They want to win. The Ravens are too cheap. Now, here's the thing about the Rams. The Rams don't even have a draft pick until 2024. They hadn't had one since 2016, and that was Jared Goff. So they don't believe in the draft process. They're trying to get it done, right now. They're trying to put all their ducks in, and they went to the Super Bowl once and lost to Tom Brady with all those weapons, and they had an explosive offense, but defense won the day. So recognize the defense wins the day. All right, so you're saying Rams sign over the cap. Okay, that's why we go out to street players. High schoolers can do better, than this offense. They can't catch. They're missing some of the clutch ability. That clutch factor, it comes along with maturity and recognizing where we need to be in these situations. And I think Hollywood's going to develop this year. The thing I can appreciate about Marquise is that as soon as he finds a flaw in his game, he hits it hard during the offseason. This guy, go check his Instagram videos out. It makes you want to hit the gym and go do what he does to get faster, get stronger. He's showing it during the offseason. I mean, it's like a full-on Rocky video of watching the workouts of this guy. He's phenomenal. Love watching Hollywood workout. And he comes back stronger each year. This year, you saw him make a stride. He got 1,000 yards this year. Come on, you got to give the guy a little bit of a break. He has some clutch drops, but he had some plays, man. All right. So Boogie, he says, I don't know. I think EDC did a heck of a job this year. It's that Greg Roman wants to run, and Harris wants to use the veterans versus the young cats with potential. So I think Eric DeCosta did a great job. He just did not have in his mind losing 22, 24 players to injury this year. Nobody goes into the season thinking, all right, man, I'm going to lose about 10 of my all-star players. I got to figure out a plan for it. Nobody goes in there thinking that. It's just they assume like, hey, I'm going to keep a majority of my star players and we're going to win some games. I think we're going to take a couple of L's when it comes to injuries, but not that many. All right, so it's Boogie says Rashad Bateman is okay. He hasn't done much to prove that he's elite. Can we stop acting like he is? Have you given the guy a chance? Like I said, there are games when you see him turn all the way up when he's targeted. He has to be more of the game plan. Through the first 5 weeks, he was injured. He comes out, his first 18, or first 18 catches, I believe, for first downs. I mean, it was crazy. Or no, 18 to 25 catches. First 18 to 25 catches. I think his first 11 catches were first downs. So you got to look at what he was able to bring to the table there for the Ravens. He was moving chains, and when we felt like we were down in games, this guy's actually going up winning 50-50 balls. Tyler Huntley had a great chemistry with Rashad Bateman. Trust in the system. Trust this guy's development. And trust it, just like I said, just go watch the offseason. Watch what he does in Arizona. The second they go to Arizona, because they go down to Scottsdale, they go party it up, but they also going to get with a skills coach, and they really have a good time training, and you can see them turning all the way up and seeing the progression of each one of them. Guess who was out there? Mandrews is training right alongside them. So you can see that if he's developing, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get just as better because Mandrews was a wide receiver in high school, and he can teach those guys some things about receiving. All right, here we go. Let's see. Tanya says the Ravens could have spent money on a wide receiver. Lamar Cookie, the rookie contract was $9 million over 4 years. You mean to tell me they couldn't have did better than this? Do they want to win the Super Bowl? Well, the thing was when you signed Calais Campbell, when you signed Marlon Humphrey, when you signed Marcus Peters, when you signed a left tackle to multi-million-dollar deals, the way that they did, it kind of put a hamper on some things. They were trying to anchor down some main pieces of this team. When you sign Mandrews, it puts a hamper on what you can sign these other players to, or sign these big-time contracts for wide receivers for, when that wasn't their game plan at the time, and they thought that they could develop to the draft. That's EDC's formula. He wants first-year contract-type players so he doesn't have to pay the big-time deals. And yeah, you're right. Bateman has not really had his chance, but he will get it. Trust, or was it trust? So So the Ravens could have spent money. I think you already mentioned this. Appreciate you saying it though. Let's see what else we got here. Bateman still looks slow to me. I didn't see any explosion or home run capability from. Telling you, Dolphins game, Cleveland game. Go look at both of those games. Go look at the Chargers game. Go look at the Minnesota game. Those games you can see routes from him. You see explosionness. See simply being physical with the corners and getting off, getting that separation you need to make those big plays. Some one-handed catches in there as well. So make sure you're taking a look at the tape of those games right there. Those are the games that he showed up in. And even when the third string quarterback was out there, that first drive, 4 receptions. I don't know why they didn't go back to him before he got blown out by the Bengals, but they kept going to Bateman on that first drive, and it looked great. So just trust, man. Bateman's going to be something. Let's see here. Tanya, so many wide receivers pass on Baltimore because they don't want to come here. It used to be saying that the Ravens are where wide receivers go for their career to die. Ooh. Yeah, I think that was the stigma last year. But now that they recognize that Baltimore actually does throw the ball, receivers want to come here. I think they still want to come and play here. And even if they don't, guess what? Baltimore can still draft and they can still come from within. They can still build from within. These guys, Duvernay is a solid receiver. We've seen it. You've seen he has the ability to do a lot. He's not a Deebo Samuel, and people want him to be. And maybe he should be incorporated in some of the plays in the backfield, maybe some running back plays. Like Deebo, but he's not there. But I think Duvernay is a decent wide receiver. I think Hollywood is a guy who has a lot of speed, who still needs to put some things together in his game. But I think Bateman can be that X factor for the Ravens. They're getting there. Like I said, we're making strides this year. Wide receiver, tight end, over 1,000 yards, top tight end in the league. It's getting there. Be patient. You ain't got to go get the house. All right, so Bateman is not Chase. Yes, we've gone over this. Bateman's not Chase. I'm not comparing it. Why am I saying? Who's saying this? I'm saying he can be on Jefferson's level. I ain't saying he's a Jamar Chase. I never said it. I don't know who's in here saying it. Somebody else in here saying it? I don't know. Anyway, Bateman reminds me so much of an Anquan Bolton. Okay, if we get anything near an Anquan Bolton, that's a win, folks. That was a win. I would like that. So Bateman's not even close to. Okay, they're going back and forth here. All right, so they're saying he's not Jamar Chase. I've said Jamar Chase is the second coming of Chad Ochocinco. No, all right. First of all, I loved Chad Ochocinco. I did. I think he was an elite route runner. I think it's just phenomenal. But when it comes to pure dominance with route running and just a physical aggressiveness in order to just take advantage of a wide receiver on the outside, that is Jamar Chase. I said he was a generational talent. If you go back and check my tweets from last year, this exact time frame, I said, hey, Lacey DaCosta, could you please whisper in your husband's ear every night into the draft, Jamar Chase? Because I knew what type of talent he was. I knew that was where Baltimore needed to put all the chips in the table as far as draft picks to get up there, to get that pick in front of Cincinnati to grab Jamar Chase, because you see it, he's phenomenal. They don't have an answer for him. Not many people will have an answer for him for the next few years. This guy scored 20 touchdowns in college. Come on, 13 touchdowns this past year. So you hadn't seen enough of Bateman to compare him to anyone. Like I said, go watch the tape, man. Watch the tape. Don't just watch the regular games. Go watch the plays, all 22. Let's go see where he's creating that separation. Sometimes even when he's not getting the ball, you can see this guy getting the separation that he needs. You can see him going up for contested catches. You can see him coming down and making plays after the catch, getting that extra yard. This is the guy. I'm not saying Jamar Chase. I am saying he has the ability to be a Justin Jefferson. And that is good enough for me right now. Will it be good enough for the rest of y'all for the rest of this offseason? Yelling about Antonio Brown giving me a headache? Probably not. So let's skip forward. So let's say that's sad. They need to open it up. EDC said he tried to get some receivers, but it didn't cost him too much. He got a Ferrari to pay for right now. Lamar is that Ferrari. Why are the Ravens so cheap? I just told you. Look, they got to pay Lamar, man. Look, right now. Look, how much we got in cap? Close to 22 after we start signing everybody. 14.5 million. And then, like I said, they might be able to bring in a medium fish, but not a big fish. at 14.5, and that's not going to all go to one person. Still got to pay the draft class, so there may be some problems. All right. So yeah, all the other teams get aggressive. That's why they win. They debug the dance. You got to pay to play. Okay. Well, there's a couple of players that that are a couple of teams that go all in. The Rams is one of those, and there are other teams that have went all in as well. But I mean, how does it work out for them in the end? They on the couch with us right now. Ultimately, there are 4 teams left. 14 left. It's championship week, and there were a lot of teams that did a lot of gambling during the offseason to try and get to where they are right now, to the couch. Ultimately, they got in the same position we got. We can get there through the ground game and through Lamar and these great running backs and playing that time possession game and then using the wide receivers on the outside. Trust, man. Trust the process. If I'm Lamar, I'm not resigning with the Ravens. The Ravens have failed to be elite talent, put elite talent around him. I think this guy loves this town. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I know that, we have our opinions, but I think if you just trust, man. Trust that Lamar is still going to be here. He's going to get his money. He's going to be a Raven for a while, bro. All right. Like to see the Ravens fix the offensive line to protect Lamar, to give him time to throw the ball. Amen. Amen, bro. If he can't throw it, if there's a helmet in his chest. We saw that week 1. We saw the right tackle position just really not go well. Max Crosby really owned Alejandro Villanueva. It was bad. Let's see. Malu Bingo Lamar won MVP with pedestrian receiver core. That is true. That is true. I think Willie Snead was, as bad as I think his comments were on Twitter, dissing Roman and stuff like that. Willie was a pretty good staple to this offense. He was pretty good out of the slot. And I went to that Chiefs game live, and there was a play where Lamar he threw up a really ill-advised throw. I think 2 ill-advised throws. One was all the way across field, and Willie managed to find a way to find space to get open to make that catch. And then there was another deep ball downfield that could have been considered pass interference or on the offense, but Willie was there to, or actually, was that Willie? I think it might have been Seth Roberts, or no, Seth. Last name Roberts. But basically, he made the play. Lamar had some receivers. He just, he was doing his thing on the ground as well. He got the MVP because he scored 35 touchdowns. So, good on him. Sometimes he's been making it a lot work that he didn't when he had not much at all. Boogie says the Ravens are not concerned with winning the Super Bowl if they are. Come on, first of all, every year the Ravens are concerned with winning a Super Bowl. This year they were hurt and they were still thinking like, hey, we could get there. We could get there. If they would have put way better talent around Lamar than they have. The Ravens are bottom 3 in offensive spending. That's horrible. That's because we spend everything on defense, man. I know that the lunch break hot take was talking about this last year, talking about defund the defense. But they were having guys on their first contracts on offense. I mean, you got to look at it. Andrews was on his first contract until he just got recently paid. It was it Stanley. It was like a 15, I think it was 2015 draftee, or maybe even earlier. But most of these guys were mostly on their first contracts. Hollywood's still in his first contract. All these other young wide receivers, first contracts. The offensive line, most of them, their first contracts. You just got to trust, bro. Like, hey, they're getting it done. I mean, Zeiler was one of the ones they brought in on a second contract. But they did some spending, but it wasn't that much because this is the formula, man. It's the formula. We are not ever going to be some high-flying, crazy, explosive throwing offense. We're not the Packers. You want the Packers? Go get you a green jersey. This is a running, ground and pound, time possession type team. All right, so let's see. So they're all rookies for a reason. I mentioned above there was a stigma. Let's see. I'm going to go down a little bit further. So the Ravens don't operate like the Yankees or the Dodgers. They operate similar to the Tampa Bay Rays. They use analytics to find the right value for each player and build around value and not splash level. Thank you. That is, wow, that's the comment of the night right there. I love that. Way to go, Mahmoud. Because that is smart. They make smart decisions based off the analytics. They build around value. Best player available based on value, not splash level. If they wanted to do splash level, they'd have brought OBJ here because they some teams are simply worried about putting players in the stand, putting fans in the stands. They're not worried about winning the championship. The Rams, they went all in. They went all in. They are the anomaly right now. I'm saying that should not be the formula that you go with, trading all your draft picks, going all in, because right now, let's just say they lose. Let's say the 49ers get them again because they got them during the regular season. If they get them again and Jimmy G goes to the Super Bowl, guess what's going to happen to that entire team? Full-on explosion. A full-on explosion. For what? For what? They went all out, and guess what? They don't have no draft picks in the first round, so they can't really replenish that roster. It's going to hurt big time. But they go, great, cool. All right, so let's see. Jared, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through. Do you think Devin Duvernay could be like Deebo Samuel if they used him right? If they put him, like Roman's got to open up the vault. He got the furlong. I don't know if he got to remember his mama's code and all that. He needs to get in there, open that vault up. And I think there was some opening this season. Like I said, go watch tape. You'll see route concepts that you did not see in the 2020 season because Roman did open up the vault a little bit with the backups. And hopefully he opens it up with a little bit more with Lamar as well. Duvernay could definitely be used like Deebo, like Deebo runs reverses. He does. What I did love was that there was a reverse. I think it was a reverse to where Jimmy Garoppolo, he ran up to the line of scrimmage like he was going to fake it. Like he was going to do a QB sneak. And then instead of the QB sneak, it was a toss to Deebo coming out the side. I think there was a beautiful play. I think when you're running plays like that, defenses that get caught off guard, using Duvernay as a full-on Swiss Army knife would help this team because you never know where they'd be coming from. Honestly, I'd like to see some Heisman formation with Duvernay back there as well. Give me a little bit of the Heisman formation. You know what I'm talking about. So it was like Mark Ingram, it was Lamar Jackson, and it was RG3. So you give me a little bit of that split back, and then we're doing the option, but an opportunity to kick it to the inside or kick it to the outside. Having that J.K. Dobbins there and then having Devin Duvernay beside him, that would be beautiful. Let's see. So a Boogie says Adit, and that's the exact reason why they have 2 playoff wins since 2012. I'm with you. Look, Baltimore is going to find a way to win games. They're going to find a way to get back, bro. You just got to believe. You got to believe, man. Sometimes you can't go all in and gamble every time. You can't go all in and gamble every year. And Baltimore doesn't do much gambling. They make smart, sound decisions, but they've been in the playoffs. You got to look at it. How many times have they had negative seasons? Have they had losing seasons? 2 times in Harbaugh's era. 2. They've been consistent. They've been getting there. All right. So I see a lot of potential for Duvernay. Yes, absolutely. He has a ton of potential. I said, what is it? Duvernay is not on Deebo level. Okay, look, the thing is, we were saying these are comparable players. Just like we're saying that Jamar is, or that Bateman is not Jamar. He's not Jamar, but he can do some things that can move some chains. And that's kind of what Baltimore needs right now. You cannot be everything else. Like I tell my wife, like, look, I can't be Jason Momoa. I can't do it. But you know what? Give me some time, baby. I still have my own level of hotness. You know what I'm saying? People said I'm looking like Marcus Peters over here. So, you know what I mean? Give me my due. You know what I'm saying? I still can get it done. You feel me? Give me my props. And we cutting me for some Jason Momoa. Anyway. So, I just feel like there are opportunities there for teams or for the Ravens to have greatness if they just develop the players within. The Steelers have done it for years. When it came to the wide receivers, they would pick up absolute trash from the 5th round, shine it off, and turn it into Antonio Brown, turn it into Santonio Holmes, turn it into so many other wide receivers, your Jujus, everything else. They would pick from the back ends of the rounds and turn it into your Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, so many players they developed from within. Baltimore can do the same because they have an amazing wide receiver coach right now. I know y'all remember. Come on, this guy, he coached up Tyreek. He coached up Devontae. This guy is phenomenal when it comes to coaching. And I know you don't hear much about him because he's one of those guys that are behind the scenes. Keith Williams is a behind-the-scenes guy who just cares about getting it done. That's all he cares about. All right, so we go through. And having a tight end as your number one pass catcher mean you don't have good receivers. Okay. They're okay. They're decent receivers, man. They're decent receivers. You had a receiver over 1,000 yards. That means you are a decent receiver. That doesn't mean you were trash. And like I said, if one of our other receivers was not injured, he would have averaged or he would have brought out about 40 some yards a game. And so if you're saying, let's say, if you're saying that Andrews is number one, Marquise is number two, and as a number three, you got Rashad Bateman. If your number three is getting 700 yards a season, 730 some yards a season, and a couple of maybe, let's say, 4 or 5 touchdowns, as a number three, those are decent numbers. I'm okay with Sam Andrews is number one. That's okay. We've had it for years. We've had something like that for years. Ty Heat, Dennis Pitta, so many wide receivers, or excuse me, so many tight ends that ended up being like top tier wide receivers for the team, whatever. So what? Guess what? Even when Tom Brady was in his prime, I mean, he's playing amazing right now. I feel like in his prime right now. His top targets are most of the time tight ends. When he was with the Patriots, it was tight end or slot wide receiver. Lamar has a similar game. Tight end or slot wide receiver is kind of where he works at. That's where his home is, and that's where he needs to continue to stay home. And sometimes it may hurt the outside wide receivers, but if he's getting it done through these slots, get it done. Y'all saw his efficiency across the middle of the field. It's great. Outside is not so great. But if we get a top tier wide receiver, or actually develop one in Rashad Bateman, maybe he can throw more to the outside. That's it. You can't see you keep saying Lamar. Can't keep using Lamar as a running back unless you don't want him to last. You sound like one of those analysts who don't think Lamar is nothing but a gimmick QB. I'm not saying Lamar is a gimmick QB. I'm saying use his strengths. Y'all think because he actually uses his legs that he's going to get hurt, or you think using his legs at all is frowned upon. No, don't get it twisted. Just because he has a strength at his legs doesn't mean he's not a dynamic passer. He's a great passer as well. Like I say, you can see what he does across the middle of the field. It's really, really good. You can see how he gets the ball deep to Hollywood. That's pretty solid. But don't frown on his legs and think that he shouldn't use them. He should use them. I think that as much as possible, I say a balance. We'll say a balance of the legs and the arm. Because if you don't, then you've hindered him. You've taken best part of his game away from him. You're telling him, hey, I need you to stay in the pocket a little bit longer. Guess what happened to Lamar when he stayed in the pocket a little bit longer? This man got sacked 37 times. The Ravens as a whole got sacked 57 times this year. 57. Because he was trying to hold on to the ball a little bit longer when he should have bailed. He was going through the third and fourth progression when he should have been gone at the second progression. Here we are. Y'all talking some crazy stuff here. I take Kelsey over Waller over Andrew, or Waller over Andrews. Andrews is not clutch. So you got that wrong. So last season, yes, Andrews was not clutch. This year, Andrews has the ability. He stepped his game up to a whole new level, man. I'm telling you, go back and watch it. The dude played lights out. All right. Yeah, so yeah, people just, I don't know why. Oh yeah, I don't know what. What you say my name? What's up? All right, he's saying to continue to run Lamar like a running back. He wants to keep Giro because he doesn't think he's a capable. When did I say that? I never said that. I really don't know. I'm saying that Giro maximizes his ability on the ground, and that if he works with Keith Williams and T. Martin, then they can develop the passing game through that. The combination of this is great, but you cannot toss out a guy who helped set you a record since 1978 of rushing yards. You cannot sit here and toss out a guy people were clamoring. Go back and look at the 2020 comments. People were clamoring to sign him to a new contract extension in February 2020, and they did. People who hated Giro back, right now, they were all over Lamar, all over Twitter. Excuse me, not over Lamar, all over Giro and Twitter in 2020. They wanted this guy. They needed this guy. He was one of the top offenses out there, number 2 behind the Dallas Cowboys in the 2019 season. Get a minute, dude. Like, don't sit here and just toss him out because he had a bad year. Some people are saying his formula didn't change. It has changed. Trust this guy and trust him to work with the guys he's got underneath him. That's what he's still there for. All right, so check yourself. You got to be being disrespectful. Oh, that's Boogie. Okay. All right, so I don't know what's going on with him being disrespectful. Yeah, whatever. Spread it out like they use. No, that's not this offense. They don't spread it. They shouldn't spread it. And I'll tell you why. Because every time they ran 11 personnel, Lamar got sacked. It was bad. Or not, I say not every time, but the majority of the time that they ran 11 personnel and tried to spread it out, it just didn't go well. It really did not go well. I prefer, give me some 12 personnel, give me some, some heavy, give me some 22, give me some 21. I can work with all that. But the second you sit here working with 11 personnel, it does not go too well because there's not enough protection back there for our quarterback. All right. Let's see. So he's not being disrespectful. I'm reading between the lines. Ask him why does he want to stay with G-Row. I've already mentioned why I want to stay with G-Row. Now, it's like I said, but it's because it's a great ground game. There's a great ground game, but there's also good RPO concepts, that RP being the passing concepts that are within there. You got to look at it like, hey, look, you cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. Great ground game sets up a great RPO, sets up a great play action, sets up all these different things when you can set the ground game, when you got those good running backs back there, trusting the ground game. I'm not saying that, all they need to do is run and that Lamar can't throw. I never said that, bro. You putting words in my mouth. Anyway. All right, so a Greek guy says, I want Giro gone too, but if they keep him, that would allow one more year for Keith Williams to take over. Now, that could be true. That could be a situation to where Harbaugh is allowing Keith Martin to just basically, Keith Williams to be there with his pad, just like, all right, well, that's a pretty good RPO play. We're going to keep that. Okay, that's a good one. I'm keeping that one as well. We're going to incorporate some of that as well. Okay, and then he raises his hand, say, hey, Harbs, I got it all. And then they might say, hey, Giro, I'm sorry you're gone. But for right now, he's still there. And I don't know if he's going, but like I said, if you get rid of one, you got rid of Wink. If you get rid of Giro, you might as well get rid of Harbs. Because the consistency, the continuity is gone after that. All right. Boogie says the Ravens. I don't know what's going on. Oh, he's saying, who do you root for? Okay, that was an answer. All right. It says, we are not going to go far with Andrews as our number one option. I disagree. There are teams out there that can do things with tight ends as a number one option. Jimmy G, but when he went to the Super Bowl the first time, he went off of Kittle. They had some explosive options, and they had a chance to beat the Chiefs. The defense just could not hang on to what Pat Mahomes was doing. There are teams out there that have really good tight ends, and they are making their due off of those tight ends. The Raiders was a good team off of their tight ends. Renfro stepped up, but they knew that their moneymaker was through Waller. And that's how they figured us out, is that they knew if we actually teamed up and tried to take out Waller, that they had to go to elsewhere with the out routes and man coverage, because they knew we couldn't cover slants for some reason. I don't know why. But that was when we were trying to take out Waller out of the equation. But we were so focused on the tight end because we knew that is a big, big problem. Let's see. I did say I want Harv's gone too. Okay. Giro got to go. He's limited. Look at the playoffs. Look horrible. We have no answers. Adjustments. We need change. I say, you know what? Give him another shot, man. Give him another shot. Trust what they got going on. Trust that they're going to come back to the table with something different. It's not like they go stagnant in the offseason. If you look at, I want to say it was 2 years ago, they wanted to really maximize what Lamar does on the ground and in the air. So they went and talked to Navy, and they went and figured out the air raid. They went and figured out the RPO. They wanted to incorporate these concepts in to what they were doing. And Navy was one of the people who ran the RPO pretty darn good. They ran it so good, or at least running the read option so well. They had a quarterback rusher, 300 yards in one game. So that's pretty solid. I think he got picked up by Miami. I don't think he's a quarterback still. I think he might be a wide receiver. But he got picked up by the Dolphins, just simply off of that athletic talent. All right, everybody yelling, get rid of Harbs. Harbs, outdated philosophy, held his team back. Lamar saved his job. Okay, sure, whatever, buddy. See here. Don't be confrontational with someone who made you disagree. I don't want to have a disharmonious fan base. Ravens flock is fam. I fully agree. When it comes to Ravens flock, it is a it's a fan base. I don't know how to explain it. It's a family. As they do a lot of fighting, brothers and sisters. Excuse me just a second. Gotta wet the whistle. Anyway, yes, Team Keep It Clean is one of the things that I like. I'm definitely a part of Team Keep It Clean. Engraven, that dude, he started that. I think it's phenomenal that, you want to keep it clean. Look, when it comes to the Ravens, we fight. And if y'all look at that page, there's a lot of people that do a lot of cursing, a lot of death threats and all that stuff. Just ignore that. Ignore that. They're probably going to get kicked off the page anyway. And here, I appreciate y'all just show love to each other. That's kind of what we do. Ain't nobody trying to be disrespectful. I want you to definitely show love to each other. But anyway, I think we had 2 hours, man. I appreciate y'all. We got 13 people in the room. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you're new here. I appreciate you. Y'all been great today. This has been a fun time. We're gonna have some more fun during the off season. King Vino, thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. You got something to say here. He says my biggest issues are adjustments to what teams are doing to us. Yes, mid-game adjustments have been an issue, and then of course once that formula gets learned, having those adjustments it was very key to the losses was us not adjusting. So if you look at that zero blitz, they just didn't have an answer for it, or at least Lamar wasn't trying to find that answer through that mesh because the play was there. It's just actually recognizing it and going to it. It wasn't there. So let's see here. Oh, somebody else says something here. Roman is so good. Why did he go? I'm not going to. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to go all the way into this. Just know that I believe in this team, and I hope you do as well. I had a good time tonight. We're going to talk more about it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. I love y'all. I appreciate each of y'all coming through. Make sure that you go and like the lunch break hot take and all 22. And, of course, the Engraven. Those are my favorite shows out there to watch Ravens-wise. And we're going to do so much fun. We're going to have so much fun during the offseason. I'm hoping to bring some special guests over here. I know Captain Defense pretty well. He's on my Instagram. We've been talking about getting together. I might bring in Trevor Hudson again. He's just a funny personality to have. I've had Cam Rule on here. Engravens popped up in here. We're going to have some fun. Y'all just trust in the system, trust the process, and go Ravens. Look, thanks for tuning in to the home of Original Sports Perspective. From our couch to yours, this is the Couch Rider Report. I'm your host, the Couch Rider Raven. Much love to each and every last one of y'all. Show some love to your Ravens. Peace out.